Today is Ronald Reagan's 104th birthday, and here's what he said in the face of communism. Roll the tape.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Joining us is presidential historian and Reagan biographer Craig Shirley, the author of Rendezvous with Destiny, and he joins us from Washington. Craig, I can only imagine how Ronald Reagan would deal with the threats that we're facing in the Middle East. What do you say?
Well, I think it would be a concentrated effort. You know, Ronald Reagan was a conservative. He believed in limited central authority, but he also recognized the Soviet threat in the late 70s and into his presidency was the greatest threat to America going forward. So that you need a thoughtful but coordinated and concentrated effort to and organizing international coalitions to defeat it, as he did with the Soviet Union in the 1980s.
He was able to communicate so well. He's called the great communicator.
Right.
And is that the secret sauce here? Is that what the president says to us and how he says it? Because the president that we have today gets a lot of grief about the fact that you heard Lindsey Graham's statement. You know, people look at it and say the others are going to feel more empowered. Not with Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, he said, Tom, in his farewell address in January of 1989, he somewhat rejected the label of the great communicator and said that what he communicated instead were great ideas. And they had been ideas that had been missing from the national political debate from the time of the New Deal forward. The two parties had become basically both represented big government, and it became a discussion over who was best able to manage government or grow government, but there was never a discussion about whether or not government had too much power and whether or not it should be reassigned back to the states and localities and ultimately the individuals the way the framers intended. That was what made the 1980 campaign so radical.
Well, it may be radical, and maybe that's what, if the wannabe candidates are out there, maybe we could take a few notes from that as they run for succeeding
Absolutely.
President Obama.
Yes, because, you know, the time when I was in high school physics, the part of high school physics I didn't sleep through, I remember the teacher saying that power can neither be destroyed nor created. It can only be shifted around. And from 1932 up until 1980, power had been moving inexorably away from the individual and the localities to the national government. Reagan wanted to push it back. I think that is a debate that is absent in much, certainly absent in the Democratic Party because they are the party of big government. I think everybody would agree to that. The Republican Party is more schizophrenic because there's a big government Republican element, and there's also the Tea Party populist Reagan element, and they're often in conflict with each other.
They certainly are. Craig Shirley, thank you so much for joining us on this President Reagan's 104th birthday. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.